people, my people. Our daughter who they call black, now bring the gospel to us. So everybody know when you get wish, when you get energy, that so we can sing gospel together. Anybody who get wish, do your wish, blessing. If I wait for me, it's okay, go. Okay, good evening and welcome to today's program. This is All Things Considered. Very shortly, we will get this program underway. Just hit the share button for us and we will get the conversation going to right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Stay tuned, taking you to Maryland this evening, right? Going to Maryland. I come to this evenings. Let's get a program going. I'm Afonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. Let's get a program going. The rest of the folks will be joining us here. We have someone special. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. And we are here as usual. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I'm Afonso Zay, and so this is your regular editions of All Things Considered, but we have taken a paradigm shift into the conversations in Liberia. Why are the old people always involved in politics? The millennials now, they are the good, significant people that are everywhere. The most recent study at University of California, they stated that, and the Council of the White House in 2014 justified that the millennials are more or less engaged into politics and have become a major demographic. And I have no exceptions. Liberia is also should be part of that. It were to do a research. Who want to do that research? We don't know how many people voted in by-elections, not to mention general election. But we know politicians in Liberia make use of the young generation. They are the millennium. So are they seated at the table? Are they being accommodated? And if they are accommodated, what is their own input? Well, Liberia Public Radio is taking a 366-degree turn. Maybe you can run it up to 400 if you will at your own risk also. But there's a young lady in Liberia involved in multitudes of roles. We have followed her for a good writer, a young scholar. Everyone is important to us, and everyone should be part of this conversation. And we ask her, and she has volunteered. She will be a contributor here. Be nice to her, because if you bring too much of your politics here, oh man, it won't be easy. But it can be recalled some time ago, 2022, there was an interview with her. Let's take a little bit track. Our guests are all standing by. She's also with us here. And there's a passion. She's the executive director of a particular group. So she will be a contributing member here on the Liberia Public Radio. This is to show that we are not just only guys who wear coat suit, or you got to be on Capitol Hill or at a local bank or whatever. But we feel every Liberian, everyone should be part of the conversation. Let's take a retrospect of my last interview with her, and we'll be right back.
Judge, actually, because we are all human, but other people have their own way of running things. But for my organization, I think you as a person, yeah, you have been so good to us. You supported one of our initiatives called the Best Motivational Speaking Competition, and I sent you pictorial evidence, and you saw them, and that also was stating we had a human trafficking campaign in Kakata, and I think I'm going to send you the photos because we are a charity-based institution. So at the
Charity-based
end of
institution.
every program,
Okay, let me bring in my guest. I'm going to bring in Mr. Sisi Goyo, is a senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio. He's based in Minnesota. He's also an educator. The guy helped to mold the minds of the young generation. I'm quite sure this one going to tap into his expertise as a classroom teacher. The guy, he knows the figure, both height and community college. And so I'm quite sure this will satisfy his base as well, making wise of the young generation. Let me just bring in here. There you see him, the man himself, Mr. Goya. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. How you doing, Mr. So?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Latest one unfolding. We try to change the dynamics. I'm kind of concerned why we, the old people in the 50s, 60s, some of them 65, 75, they're reading, they had to see the statement they're reading, yet instead they want to.
Oh, man, you taking a shot at my uncle Slawi, so.
Who's that? Who's the uncle is that? Uncle who?
Uncle Joe, we're reading. Yeah, let's see all the people.
Oh, you the one reading?
You see you that politics.
So why you can't even see your own picture? Okay, let's go here. It's a little bit late. Let's go into the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Our newly contributor here to form part of this. She just went up, but she's going to be coming back. Madam Robertson is still here. of organizations based here. We decided to bring the young generation into this conversation. Okay, I think she's back here with us. Let me just bring her here in. And okay, there she is Madam Olive Johnson Robertson. And we'll be sharing thought here with us and be getting a perspective on some of these critical issues. I think it's important that we involve the young people.
Sure,
People
sure.
make use of them, they go to them, they beg them for their vote, but they always like to put them in a back room, backyard. It is unfair. Their voices need to be heard. Madam Johnson, good evening and welcome.
Okay, thank you, Alfonso. Olive Josephine Robertson.
Right,
Josephine.
right. I just you're too much. I'll just call you. I'll just call you Olive, and we can get it.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Okay, good evening and welcome. This is not your first time on LPR, but
So,
you're going to be involved in multitudes of road down to make sure that the young generation voices are heard. Never
okay,
sit
thank you.
on
Thank you.
alone and people at the White House or whatever, they already live their life. They don't want to retire. They're dragging them to the polling center. Crazy. Okay, so where are you joining us from this evening from Liberia?
Okay, I'm joining you from Camp Johnson Road. Yeah,
Ken Johnson Road. Okay.
sure.
All right. This is Mr. Goya. He's our senior contributor, educator, a
Okay.
classroom teacher, a lecturer, community college. What was that? Mathematics?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Josephine. You said you
Okay.
prefer Josephine, Olive, or which one?
Yeah, probably you can say Olive. Yeah,
Olive.
Olive will be
Okay.
better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will. We will make sure to give you. To when we make mistake, please give us the olive branch.
No problem.
okay. So this program is all things considered. So we're going to be pushing it here. You're not new to this network. We're going to start the ball with it.
Sure.
Once we have young people be involved in politics, or are they involved? Are they leaving them behind? Is it enough knowing what you know? You have your own organizations. You're involved. You met Presidential Affairs Minister Mangi
Uh,
recently. You do a lot of writing. I follow all of that. Are they the young people? Are they involved in politics in Liberia?
okay, for my purview, I can say they are partially involved in, yeah, I can say they are partially involved because when I say partially, yeah, I means whenever those politicians need their votes is when they come around, yeah, and they act like they are working with the young people, right? But when they are being in power with these positions, yeah, we tend to understand that yeah, the young people, yeah, are left out of the picture completely at times. Yeah. So I can say from your question that young people are partially, yeah, involved with politics, yeah, in the
So
country.
I will be going to our educator here. He going to do
Mhm.
more of a. So why are they partially and why when they get position? Why you think you do a lot of walking around, doing a lot of stuff? Why are they left out of the room when they are when these people get into office?
Oh, so okay, so what I think is probably nowadays the 21st century, especially in Liberia, the youthful population here is about let's say 50% yeah of the Liberian population. So these people yeah are the one with the majority vote. These people are the one who can really make our politicians to win their elections and electoral positions. So whenever there are elections, we tend to understand that these people come around and at times some of them pretend to be one of us, in which of course you know that most often in our Liberian society nowadays, yeah, votes are based on at times sympathy or cash violence, right? Because yeah, I see you laughing. Yeah, but I mean that's the reality, that's the reality. So sometimes it is either on a tribal basis that yeah, one may say, yeah, I'm from this region, and because we are from this region, I want your people to support me. And I mean, these are all things that we consider to be buying sympathy, and sometimes people will say, I was once like you, once a youth like you. I had my own difficulties in society, but here I am today. So if you empower me, I'm going to try to elevate you from this lifestyle. But mind you, if they are opportune to be empowered, it's a whole different scenario. It's a whole different case right there, because they tend to get very busy for us. Yeah, we don't have access to them anymore. Yeah, they are so busy. They have all the jobs in the world, so they cannot even pay attention to us. So I say young people are partially involved because why? We empower them, and after empowering them, at times they don't come back to us. Yeah, they don't live up to their manifesto. Seriously.
Hold on right there. Let me bring in someone here. He deals with this latest case here. My man, you get patient to be teaching in this country. I'm telling you. Okay, when I get no, in that like bro, we get it right and flow. You can't that one, you can't try that one here, man. What is it? They will say they go find out one night.
the
Uh,
main the main use to it.
yeah. Look, but on a serious note here, I want you to dive into her talking point and what you're saying. You involved in politics in this country. You are following what is unfolding in our country. And I was just talking to one of the studies show here, research from the University of California, the millennials, they are in great numbers. And the White House Council of State in 2000 advisors, a council of economic advisors. 2014, their research also validated that it constitutes a significant portions of a voting bloc. I'm not sure what our research has been done, but we can also transfer that in Liberia, seeing the young generation, how they can be crowded. But the question here, are they seated at the table? Are they involved? What's
And
happening?
so my sister, nice meeting you. On the issue of the education piece, I love it, man. I used to teach in Liberia before I came to the States.
Oh,
So
okay.
this has been my thing. So there's no big difference. But having said that, Mr. So, I think what Ms. Robinson is getting at is that the young voters in Liberia are not consciously involved, they're passively involved, right? Because if she alluded to the fact that people come and talk to them and they vote on so many different lines, but most of those lines are not in their personal interest, right? So if I vote along tribal lines, it doesn't necessarily mean that I and my family gets to benefit or that legislators will pass legislation that benefits us. It's just like, okay, I'm doing it to kind of assuage some kind of a feeling I got, or to feel like I belong to my community, so my community cannot ostracize me. So I think there's a bigger point she's stressing here. She's stressing the idea of conscious involvement versus passive involvement. And I think more likely than not, a lot of Liberian youth are passively involved in the politics. They get reawakened whenever the politicians need them, and it's almost like a puppet and a puppeteer kind of relationship versus a voter and a politician relationship. But more besides, to link that to everything in Liberia, just think about education. When decisions are being made about education that affect young people are not in the room when those decisions are being made. Ask how many young people have actually been in the room when decisions, for example, was being made to switch our school year to start in September. How many young people were at the table? These are people whose lives will be upended by their decision. Uh,
Should they
um,
be should they be at the table?
they should be. They should be. If you're making decisions for people and about people, I think it's disrespectful to keep those people out of the room and pretend like you know what's going on in their lives. But here's what accounts for that. What accounts for that is that you were trying to strike that point, Mr. So, when we started this program, is that old people, adults, 50 years old people will still be chairmen and chairwomen of youth organization and youth movement in Liberia. And so when you water down what it means to be young and what it means to be youth and what it means to be really living your midlife, that creates the problem. And that is why you would get a 35-year-old woman or a 35-year-old man seated at a table pretending to be representing young people, to be representing the youth, and that is not fair. So you can't be making decisions that affect the life of Zogos, for example, without having Zogos at the table. If you're talking about how do we deal with these young people, and sorry for the demeaning word that I used to describe that, I just try to use that word so everybody understands what we're talking about, the drug affected youth. If you're trying to find a way to rehabilitate them, or you're trying to find a way to stop what leads into that, you have to have them at the table. But quite too often, they use these young people to get in offices, and then when decisions are being made, the young people don't even know where the table is at before they can be added.
Let's validate this argument. Whether they are at the table, there you in Minnesota, there look you in a cold, nice place, air cool when you're in your classroom, all in Liberia, in Liberia. Let's ask you here, Ola. Young
Yeah.
folks, are they seated at the table? For example, the professor he made it. Man, he made a valid point here. When school academic calendar, for example, is being switched or being tweeted for whatever reason, do they allow you people to sit there to get your input, or they just throw the bucket at you?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. So, like he rightly said, yeah, though he's in the cold, yeah, and we are here on ground, but I think he's speaking to the fact, he's speaking reality because we are not, yeah, we cannot be involved with those decisions, and we all of a sudden, yeah, out of a blue sky, we just see this, yeah, this decision being posted up, and we have to go by them, yeah, but absolutely, we are being left out of the picture. Yeah, there is no joint table where young people and elderly people can come together here and say, okay, fine, this is the constraints in, and we are trying to make amends, and we want to get a feedback from you young people here because you are the people who gonna receive any cost or any effect that this decision, yeah, it gonna has. So we want to know what we can do as a team. Rather, yeah, it is done exclusively. Yeah, young people are left out of the picture. Seriously.
And a bigger point though, Mr. So, just to buttress what she's saying, you just quoted a research. The research was from USC, right? University of California. And this is not even, if we really meant business in Liberia, this would be a research from the University of Liberia, and that research will be done with the young people and asking them and actually counting and doing stuff. But those research are not being done again because we, the old people, are the one in charge of making decisions. And we make this decision as soon as we know what young people need without getting to them. And so, right, like Don Dennis is definitely saying there is a fluid definition of what it means to be youth in Liberia. And so, I was speaking to this educational side, Mr. So, because full disclosure, I run a nonprofit. I 2 years now I haven't been back in Liberia, but I went to Liberia every year the last 8 years, and we do teacher training. So we go back and we train teachers in the hinterland. I don't do it in Monrovia. I've never done it in Monrovia because
Why not more?
I believe that Monrovia is not Liberia, and I think Monrovia have way too many resources. So I usually go to those villages where you have to ride a motorbike and the road
Sure.
stop and you walk. And I
Yeah.
get there and I pay these teachers $5 per day. We do that on a Saturday and a Sunday, $5 US per day to come. You see how many of these teachers come to learn how to teach the new way, but when they come and you talk to them about discipline policy and you say, look, what's the discipline policy and how did you come up with your discipline policy? Did you have students at the table when you talk about discipline policy? They say, no, why we have so much training that when we're talking about teamwork? Well,
Very
these are
good.
the people
That's
that's
the
going to
thing.
affect. These are the
That's the
people
thing.
that
No, that's the
going to
thing.
affect.
That's the thing. So our people still believe that yeah, we young people absolutely we have nothing to offer. Yeah, and this is the mentality
Do
we are
you
trying
have?
to
So let
change.
me ask you here, Olive. Do you have something to offer?
Of course, I have so many things to offer. Yeah, as a young person, as a young leader, because I believe that in the next 5 to 10 years to come, I mean, there's so many big names and faces. I mean, we see around here, there will be no more, and that's the truth. There will be no more, and
Are
and
they?
the running of this country or the running yeah of this nation will rest upon the shoulders of we the young folks growing up. So if there is any decision that is to be made, especially on a national basis, I think we young folks should be included. Yeah, because
So let me.
in the next 5 to 10 years to come, absolutely we will be the leaders that people will be referring to. Yeah. So
Okay. Let me act a little bit silly here. these people
Okay.
here in the next 15 years, you sure they will not be around because
Of course, of
still
course. No, I'm sorry. Okay. So let's be real, right? Let's be real. I'm not killing anyone here on this show, right? But that's just the truth about life. Yeah. At certain stage in time, yeah, human being will metamorphosize, and I mean there are a lot of changes and revolution that will take place. So we cannot say for certain that yeah, the other people will good stimulus will still be around, though, but majority of the leaders will all be gone. Yeah.
so you help me out here. So
Hmm.
why you being in the classroom from Liberia, you
Hmm.
here in the classroom, Mr. Koya now, and most of these people that profess to be educated from here, either from the USA, any part of the West, for whatever reason, once they descend down that plane, it's like they web the dust. This country, I can treat it any kind of way. I can do anything. Nobody can tell me anything. And that's exactly the behavior of the politician. Having this sort of a, I call that like a routine because they will come and talk, but when they are given the opportunity, we are indifferent. What is responsible for that, Koya?
I think there's a big problem, and it is between education and ethics. There are a lot of educated people that are not ethical, and so if you take those educated people that are not ethical and put them in an environment where unethical behavior goes unchecked, they flourish. And that's the reason that happens a lot in Liberia. And so, what we have to be looking at with educated people and putting people in positions of power is you don't always just have to look at the education. We need to look at the education because we need people that make that make decisions on behalf of our children and our families to be able to clearly articulate and analyze stuff. But we also have to look at their ethics and their ethical beliefs and their morals, because you put people who are very educated with a PhD, with very fluid ethics and very fluid idea of morality, then you get these situations where people who ought to know better, like we always say, don't do better. Here's one thing, to Josephine's point. Somebody who voted for Ellen first term as at 18-year-old. You were 18-year-old when you voted for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ellen ran 12 years, and George we are 5 years now. That's 17 years ago. If you were 18-year-old, then imagine that's 18 plus 17, that's 35. You're no longer a you're no longer a youth, right?
But
And
they are
so,
still
and
acting like
so
you.
and, right. And so now, to Josephine's point, if those people who voted the first time for Ellen were never at the table, have never been at the table for making decisions, they've gone their entire young adult life without ever being at the table. Now
Sure.
they're 35-year-old, in this on this side of the show, you're a man, a woman, right? You're no longer a child, or you're no longer a youth. And so we have to be very critical. And I think that's where platforms like these come in. And I was really excited. I didn't get to make the announcement, but I was really excited when I saw the notification you sent me that you were bringing on a youth voice at the table, because quite too often we find ourselves in an echo chamber. A bunch of old people sit together and just talk stuff, and they think they know everything about young people. So it was really great bringing Miss Josephine on, and I think she's hitting on a point right there that
Yeah.
people ought to give them the chance, because after every election, those who voted senators, that's 9 years. If you vote senator twice, that's 18 years. If you were 18 years old, you voted a senator twice, 36 years of your life, right?
Sure.
So that
Sure.
person is making decisions on your behalf in the prime of your life. And I think you ought to be at the table when those people are making those decisions for you.
Yeah, and moving forward, she's going to be a contributor here. We have to change the narrative, the talking points in Liberia, and it should resurrect from here, so that it can also impact the society. So that some of the young, we have so much talent. I have followed this young lady activities, her writings, and everything. So with this in mind here, what is the probability here, Josephine, if we were to call you, of young people being accommodated? When
Okay.
politicians are having this rally, you don't
Mhm.
see very often, suddenly do you see the entire on stage, they are in a house song, they get a bagpipe, we can't get tired, the chanting, the dancing, appetizer, I don't know, they get fire energy drink or local V they are drinking here. What
Okay.
should young people be doing? What should be the focus? What should be the point of direction for that? These people will be compelled to have you people to, listen to us.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. So then let me say like okay, let me use my own case story, right? So as a young person now looking around the society, I mean observing things, observing the happiness of society. Yeah, I mean that have been fortunate to come from a background that favor me in terms of finances or bigger names and platform. But then I did a case study, right? I look around and then I said I identified a cause, within the Liberian society, something that I felt needed a readdress, and that is humanity, right? I chose a humanitarian lifestyle, not because I have so much money, not because I have too many people around me, but because I feel that there is a need that Liberians, engage into humanity, especially when we are trying to, say we are the future leaders, in the next years to come, we will be taking on the responsibility to lead this nation. So I took on humanity and then went to like-minded youth and said, this is my dreams, this is my plan, this is what I think that we can do positively to impact the Liberian society. And the ones who were with the same mindset said, you have a point, you are making sense, right? We can come together as a team, and we can do something positively. And it has been 3 years now, very strenuous indeed, as I always get to you at times, but we never quit. We never gave up hope. Yeah, we never lost the focus.
Why
So
you
if you get
consistent? Why you can't quit? Why you consistent?
yeah, we can quit because I mean sometimes like biblically speaking, sometimes the Bible says, the beginning of a thing may be small, but do not despise it, right? And for me, I am not into this life changing activities because I want to gain fame for myself, but because I believe that there is a need, and I believe that the Liberians need it. So I'm doing this not for myself, but for the Liberian people. Because if you take a case study in this nation, I'm going to tell you that there are so many challenges and there are so many difficulties in this country. And if we only depend on government to solve all these long-lasting challenges, we will be in error, and it is a big no. So we, as the young people, now have to start identifying causes within the Liberian society that need addresses. Right? So that is what we are doing. And so if you see me as a young person taking these steps into the society, making these indelible marks, I believe that sometimes government should put up surveys, right? Through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, right? Go out, I mean, do your own analysis. Get to the various high schools. Sometimes invite some local NGOs like ours to the table to dialogue. From the dialogue, you are going to listen to some speeches of smart young leaders, and from there you can say, okay, I'm trying to do a memorandum, or I'm trying to do a selection of people, and you are going to create a team. With that team set up, these people are going to choose individuals who they think have the abilities and brilliance to bring to the table or to bring to the disco these things that you want to see happening in this country. And with this mindset, if you do that, you are going to get a very brilliant result, because you are going to have young people participating fully. Even the ones who are not active, they're going to see those ones that are active and get very jealous positively and want to also be a change maker. Yeah.
Okay. I never saw you clapping on. I never saw you cheering.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to hear this young lady. Oh, wow.
What are you excited? What are you excited about?
Because this gives us a glimpse into our future. This gives us a glimpse for hope in Liberia. You know, and while she was speaking, while she was laying out the issues, I'm here thinking, calling, calling. Look, she recognized her calling. And that goes into the issue I spoke to you earlier about ethics versus an educated man or woman who is ethical. If it's your calling, if it's truly your calling, you will protect it. And as she's speaking, she's talking about how she didn't get in it for fame, when in fact that would be what a few people were getting to it for. But the biggest thing here is she was dispelling a notion that is commonly held by most of us, that The young people are responsible for the problems in Liberia because of the way they vote. And she's dispelling that because what happens is you don't know what you don't know, Mr. So. These young people are voting without a full deck of cards. They're voting based on half information. Sometimes they're hungry. You keep somebody hungry long enough, they're going to succumb. And so, what this young lady is saying is that if you can educate people, if you can give people access for them to be able to hear their calling, because sometimes you're called, but because of the so much noise that you got, you don't hear your calling. So to allow these young people to remove all of the noise, and this noise can be economic, this noise can be social, it can be social barriers. Remove all of those noises and allow these young people to hear their calling. And I guarantee you, Liberia will be on a better path. But just hearing her speak, that's why you saw me clap. Hearing her speak, hearing her articulate the issue, for me, that gives me a glimpse into our future, that we stay have a bright future still possible in Liberia if we continue to reach out to young people, allow them to be on the table, allow them to be a part of the decision making, not just people that come and say you were here and we check you off and you go. No, let them be the one that lead the table that's going to talk about their lives, because 12 years from now we all going to be very old people. And these young people will still be there, and we need to continue to have a republic called Liberia. And the only people that's going to make sure that that continues has to be the young people. And if we're not investing in them today, then we can't blame them tomorrow when there's nothing to retire on in Liberia.
Talking about investment, and look, Ole, feel free as a contributor here. You have an equal right. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with Haynes. One of the things on this network is civility is the hallmark, and that's why our fans they can go anywhere and use whatever word meant to be used. But good thing when they come here, they put it through the radar to make sure that, because they know the people, they can exchange among themselves, which is a good thing. And we must have that dialogue. That's the only way forward. And that's what I hate, when people acting crazy, you're cussing. Because if you curse me, you call me to a conference, you better get how you call it, say, or how do you call it, see your navy person, because you. So let me ask you, you've been in Liberia and you are still in Liberia.
Yeah.
The actions or the behaviors of politicians or people in high profile position not opening up, can we say it's a deliberate action, because they are doing it in such that that's another way of, we want to keep them down, we not want to open their eyes, and anything they say, for anything we say, they will go with it. And you saw financial violence, and that was a point of conversation in the last couple of days with being you. Now seeing this word, keyword is being factoring in these young people, the smart. In fact, as a matter of fact, she's a motivator speaker, so she knows what she's talking about. Do you think is what these people have deployed to get our society to go downhill like that?
Yeah, so for the aspect of delivery, I can really say that I can really say 100% that they are being deliberate. But sometimes, what I tend to understand here from our politicians is, whenever they are given these offices and the people around them, make them to appear like a seeming gods. The people around them make them to feel that, I mean, they are some kind of an idol that needs to be worshipped. So they even to see them on a daily basis, it's not easy. Like, we do writings of letters, right? We write letters and we carry to various offices, of these politicians to seek financial aid. But mind you, even the protocol at the decks, before you even speak to the protocol, just imagine a protocol.
Yeah, when I ask you a phone
Before,
number.
I mean, even if you get out of there, you got a protocol with the phone in his ear or in your ear telling you gotta hold him 5 seconds or 5 minutes before you talk to me. What? So imagine if I go to the chief of office time, what he would say to me, what he would tell me before meeting the person that I went to address in my communication. So these people, sometimes I can say it is because of the people around our politicians, right? They create a space, that they create a narrow space, and sometimes there is no avenue to getting access to them before even thinking about having their contacts in your phone. No, they make it appear as a taboo. They make it to seem that it is so forbidden. And secondly, the cash violence, right? Let's come to the cash violence.
Why,
I'm gonna use
why cash violence? Why is it?
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna use my life story. I think I once upon a time, yeah, on the show, yeah, I told you everything about myself, right? So let's say a young girl, yeah, from the rural part of Liberia, coming to Monrovia to acquire education, yeah, especially on the BSc level. It's gonna be challenging, it will be challenging, right? But I mean, I know what I want, I know what I'm here for, right? There is no mother here for me. There is no father here for me. No brother, no sister. I'm doing everything on my own by myself. I'm on a scholarship. Sometimes it gets so challenging. I feel like, yeah, like I can follow my friends and do what they are doing. There are so many things you do nowadays to get money. Yeah, if you see a young girl like me trying to make change, impact, yeah, sometimes people feel that, yeah, because of the engagements we do with bigger politicians, we have money, but sometimes, yeah, these are just lectures in, I mean, having into what we want to see happening in. We are done, we get out of those people offices without even having a cent, though, but we are just trying to push forward. So you can have me at times very hungry, no food to eat, and every day I'm depending on change, on change, on change. Let's assume that I won't change, but if I get sick, I need money to go to the hospital. Yeah, if I'm hungry, I need money to eat. If I don't have clothes to work, I need money to purchase clothes. So there are so many factors. You cannot have an educated man, yeah, who has his family with 6 to 7 children, yeah, and then you say he will eat change. No, that man will not eat change. He will go for the money, definitely. So sometimes because our politicians are in a financial capacity, yeah, they are able financially, so they tend not to bother themselves until elections are around. Then they come out with the big United States dollars notes, or the 500 Liberian dollars, yeah, pieces, and they give it to these hungry people. And mind you, what can a hungry man do? Will a hungry man vote for change? No, he will vote for his belly. So sometimes our people are not wrong because they vote for that belly, because you should understand that hunger kills people, right? Hunger kills people. If someone is sick and they don't have the financial means, at times they tend to lose their life. They will die in the process. So I need to get better treatment yet to be healthy. I need to eat every day. I need to pay my rent. You don't expect change to do that for me. So on that basis, you will see that most young people go in for the cash other than the change they need. Yeah.
So, Sissy,
Yep.
it's a compound complex situation that we are faced with bridge over troubled water. And I'm not sure how we're going to get to that point. And that's a valid point because my last trip, I didn't put them on camera. I decided to these people, I don't call, I hate when people call them those sort of Zoko name. And I was driving around, and sometimes my friend, man, don't do that, boy, do that. I said, no, you have to be some sort of a summation, make dent to be, put dent in your shoe, engage dent, and you're going to get the inner part of that. Hearing what you're hearing from her, what is going through your head?
Well, and that was the point I was articulating, right? When quite too often we blame the young people in Liberia, say to vote for their belly, and she's right. You can be as ideological as you want, man. There's a small percentage of humans who would rather die than to live, for an ideology. And so it's really difficult, if I can't see if I'm going to live tonight, to try to see the future. If I'm hungry tonight, or I'm sick, like she's alluding to. And it was an issue that Ellen kind of talked about during her days, even though they all didn't bring young people to the table. When she said, Papa, now come, or Papa coming, Papa ain't bringing plastic, man. Nobody respecting you. You
Yes,
know?
yes,
Yeah, coming, you lay something on the road. They say, "Picking your pa come, you begin to see a pa hand, and they even look at me. Step in here, boy. I better go home, man."
America.
I ain't got no plastic in.
You may get no plastic, we get no money. But you get a plastic bag, people will run to you, hug you, will knock you down from your feet. And this is psychosocial problem that has to be handled. She articulately talked about the other part of this cash violence, which is we usually talk about cash violence from the end where people bring money and put that in the account and put that in people's hands to vote. But there's another side of that where people withhold money, and government being the single largest employer in Liberia, and whole government jobs, so that, there was another point when she was talking that was ringing to my mind when I was a classroom teacher in Liberia. It's really difficult to find young women who will go through life and try to make it on their own without these people dangling cash to try to get them into immoral acts or into things that they don't want to do, like Josephine was trying to allude to. So this is a psychosocial issue that has to be handled. It's very deep. It's in our society. She spoke about the issue of, I think we talked about that with Tiwa Gonglo when she was here, about the issue of rural-urban migration for education, right? She's leaving from the rural parts to come to Monrovia without any family members, and is coming to go to school. That in itself presents a lot of challenges. And when you get to Monrovia, if you're not fortunate to have, say, a scholarship, that compounds your problems, right? So you just left your families, and most times when you live in the rural places, people look at you as their savior. Go to Monrovia, earn something and save us. Well, now you get to Monrovia, you can't earn anything. You can't go back home because that's a shame. You get stuck in Monrovia. What happens is now you get in a situation where you have to do certain things that you will otherwise you wouldn't have done. And so these are issues that have to be tackled. And because we seem to overlook that, or we seem to gloss over those things, we tend to blame the wrong people, because there's not only young people that are voting for their belly, there are old people voting for their belly. I'll give you one quick example, one story real quick, and then I will stop. I was in Liberia, 2 years ago. I went to fix my mom's grave. So we are driving, and I see this little kid about 12 years old. I got a 12-year-old daughter. So about 12-year-old, and she's walking. She got this broom, the same broom that Tewan can walk with. She got this broom tied up. No, I don't know. But the little girl got this broom in a big, willow on her head, and she's walking around selling it. All of the brooms in that willow, Mr. So, was less than 500 Liberian dollars. So we stopped the car. I was buying something, and I asked the little girl, I said, "You don't go to school today?" No, just joking, because the teacher, first question I can ask people and see them at school. "You don't go to school today?" They said, "No, uncle, I'm going to school." Everybody, uncle, and bro, "No, uncle, I'm going to school." I said, "What are you doing down there?" So I got a concert. I said, "You said this broom?" She said, "I said, for what?" He said, "Oh, I got a concert for my grandma for her to go cook." So this little child has to go sell broom all day and then take that money home for grandma, who is taking care of her and her siblings, to cook at night. So this child goes hungry all day. This is our future. Goes hungry all day and tries to get $500 to go home. And you find people even trying to, get her down. "Oh, that broom too expensive. You can't bring the price down." So I took the little girl, put her in the car, and I told her about the broom. So we went to grandma's place. Grandma lived in an outside house. When you get a Zinho outside, Zinho already not already and get outside Zinho. So you know how bad it was. She's living in there with her 3 grandchildren, because she lost her only child who brought her to Monrovia, that was taking care of her, died. And these are the children. And this grandmother doesn't speak English, and she's there. So imagine if somebody went to that woman and said, "Come for me, I'll give you 1 bag of rice." She'll be in line the next morning really quick to vote for that person. Don't care what that person is going to do for her grandchildren. So those are issues that have to be tackled. If we don't tackle those issues, the issue of cash violence is going to continue in our electoral process. It's going to continue in our governance process. It's going to continue in our day-to-day life. And there's always going to be the vast majority of the people who don't have access to the cash are always going to become victims to the few that have access to cash.
Okay. Well, folks, I'm Alfonso Z and Sot of the Liberia Public Radio. Let's take a quick break for our guests to get a cup of water, and we will be right back. This is All Things Considered.
You've worked for months to bring your or your client's event to life, but unfortunately, the world had another plan. In reality, the only thing you lost is the venue. We take your vision for hosting a virtual conference and bring it to life online. No matter how complex your agenda is, we produce a smooth, engaging experience. Call the Liberia Public Radio today and schedule your event. Our number is 682-433-8802. If you prefer to submit your request via email, please send the request to liberiapublicradio2012@gmail.com. Our staff are standing by waiting for your phone call.
Okay, this is the Liberia Public Radio, LPR. All right, we want to welcome our folks here. Joining us from the far right is our senior and also contributor, Amos George, Atlanta, Georgia. Are you guys opinion where you need to Lancy Green and Giuliani?
Yeah, they'll have to come.
I heard that this morning. I laughed. I said,
Yeah.
well,
The one thing I love about this country, no one is above the speed limit, man. I get the road. They get a way to stabilize you. They will cause them to use teaser, they will use it. Okay, gentlemen, lady, and I think she will be the princess of this network because for so long we have sent a SOS call out for people to come to volunteer, and they have not. And by just a one phone message, and she said, "I'm off for it." I would have come on way 11 or 7 o'clock. It'll be 11 o'clock. You say, you know what? I am off for A. So there should be a wake up call to everybody. We're going to do everything possible we can to help her to make sure this conversation continues. Okay. So before I go to George, let me go back to Olive inside Liberia. Olive, let's hear for a few minutes. This Building Our Community Charity is your organization. Like
so Building Our Tomorrow Charity Network.
uh-huh.
Yeah, Building Our Tomorrow Charity Network. Yeah, like I said on your previous talk show, is a charity network of young people. Yeah, because I can remember telling you that all through my life it has been charity, humanity. Yeah, I'm from the background where my parents have been trying really hard to give me education, but it has not been easy. So I studied harder, and due to my academic performance, people sometimes lend helping hands and give me scholarships. Yeah, and it was based on that. I was fortunate to have graduated from high school as a valedictorian of my class, and then I'm currently at the AME University, where I am studying economics and emphasis in management. Yeah, so all through my life, it has been charity. Where I stay, what I eat, where I work, it has been it is always people, who are reaching out, helping me because I don't have the financial means. I don't have the financial capacity to afford anything of my own. I have the ideas, right? God has blessed me with the brilliance, but the means of implementing them, I don't have it. So it has been people. So I said to myself, if few philanthropists can do this for me, then though I don't have the financial means, but I can also advocate in people who are in similar situation, who are in similar shoe like mine, can also benefit, from other people. So that is how I crafted the ideas, and since 3 years now, we have been flowing along, engaging young people, hosting workshops, hosting competition, donating everywhere, through charity meets, meeting the orphans, going to old folks, disabled communities, meeting the challenge, the physically challenged youth who taken bad substances. And we have been doing it with confidence, with proud, with dignity, because we believe that everything we do, it do not go to waste. Yeah, we believe that one way or the other, we are impacting the Liberian society through humanity, which is one of my dreams, that people learn to give willingly without being coerced, or without doing it, through a means of wanting to get something in return. Yeah.
You do a lot of extensive writing. How can we connect that? Why all of those extensive and poems and a lot of extensive writing, and very creative and eye-catching, really, yeah. Why?
So I write because I feel that, sometimes sometimes those voice we put out there, when people hear them, for a certain period of time, they are all gone, and new voice enter. their ears, right? And they tend to forget. But when you put those voice to papers, yeah, and you keep resonating the message to the people, they don't forget. They don't forget actually. When the people read these things, they sometimes remember the things that are going on around them. Like recently, I wrote an article to the president, and I'm still hoping and praying that the letter, yeah, can reach the president and he can read. I wrote an article, yeah, as a pre-independence message to the president of the Republic of Liberia, yeah, where I jot down the genesis of the formulation of this nation, and then I identify few challenges within the Liberian society. Then I gave my own recommendations, and it is my prayer that the president receive this letter and go through it and read it and make some amends, yeah, in what I suggested to him. Yeah, I may be a nobody, but for my own survey and purview, yeah, to what I see the Liberian society going through, I feel that there is a need that we young people, especially through my pen or my writing power, yeah, engage His Excellency Dr. George Weah, and he sees reason to go through the letter and do some of these things that I requested, because I may be talking as an individual, but these are things that probably I've heard people say, and these are things that I've heard people complain of. So using my own capacity, because I have the writing power, I believe that when I put it down to paper, yeah, and it reach to him, he can try to see reason in it and do some of those things. Yeah. So I actually love writing. I write what I see the society go through. That is what I write on my page. Yeah.
Why, Mr. George? I see in this one, it look like it gone deep into his heart. But let me come back to you here. Is there a possibility that there will be a change of our leaders, how they receive the young people? Are they aware that they are talented, gifted, potential leaders, that they should now begin to have a second thought, regardless of which household, which ethnic group, where they're from, ugly, fine, beautiful, short, whatever it is, description that we always try to give people. You see a town now that, hey, this country, it was transition a certain period of time, and that would be the generation to come.
Yeah, so to answer that, Mr. So, let me firstly say this, right? I see people always saying that young people are dishonest, young people are greedy, young people are this. And I want to say this to everyone that are watching this show. If our elderly ones keep on with this mindset, to tell you the truth, the dreams of so many potential young person in this country will die down, because you cannot continue to use another person's past to judge another person's future or person. No, there will always be dishonesty. I want our people to know this, whether with the young folks, whether with the old folks. There will always be dishonesty, there will always be corruption, there will always be deceived. Yes, but I don't want us to basically, yeah, dwell on that the young people are not serious, because if you do that, take for instance that you have 5 to 6, 7 young persons who are really serious for something, and they are curious. That curiosity is to an extent that they can even do anything to make change. And then we have people who are supposed to help them, who are supposed to provide them platform. Yeah, maybe because they have 1 or 2 engagement with young people, and probably they send them money, and those young persons ate that money, and they never implemented the sole purpose of that money. So now, because of your experience, because of your past, you tend to judge every young person with what you face. And this is bad. We suffer for it so many times, because at times people will say, oh, you're in serious. If we gave you our money, you will just take it and go and eat it. And that is bad. We don't want people saying that about we the young people. Though people will say it, but we don't want people dwelling on it. Like for instance, as a young girl, I've taken so many time and energy where I'm not being paid to do anything. I've taken so many time and energy dedicating myself, writing about the Liberian society, implementing programs on my own. So I mean, for God's sake, I don't have the financial means, I don't have the financial abilities to do these things, but yet and so I do it. So imagine if I am really desperately in need of change and want to do certain things, yeah, certain optimistic things that are going to bring the light and changes that we need. And then few people or few persons just sit in their comfort zone where they have everything to their disclosure and say young people are dishonest. Imagine what will become of my dream, what will become of me. And coming to the politicians, right? I believe that there can still be a man and there can still be, yeah, changes where these politicians going to see young people as relevant. These politicians going to incorporate the young people, they're going to work with them. But again, when I start now, if people who are around these zealous young people, these brilliant and eloquent young ones, provide them the opportunities, support them, and give them the best of advice that they need to train on the positive path.
Let me hold you right there. Mr. George,
Yeah,
you ready to rock and roll?
yeah.
This concept, yeah, we're going to be pivoting here because politics, setting that is the most influential aspects of our daily life now. Whatever it is, politics always factor in as a greater portion of it. The concept or the mindset of people who around people are the one doing this here. Is that applicable? Is this real? Why, if I'm a leader of this network, I don't want to be authoritative, but why can't I make good judgment of myself? Why can't have a second thought, have a good and comprehensive revision of my decision making, whether it is good or bad, and then I get it to my people? Is it real that these people that are around and they should be the one to have influence in their decision making? Is it practical? And then we have Mr. Goyo coming, but go ahead. That's your welcome. Check your microphone.
Yeah, let me say this first. Miss Olivia, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Is she going to be here with us moving forward? We
We-
got to get the young people at the table and we want to start that. So when I read to ask some of these politicians, they will say, who you get there? I already finished getting there. Now I will ask them, who you get there? Go
yeah,
ahead.
and let me welcome you. And I have a piece of advice for you. This business you're getting into, you must be careful because your appearance on this platform, expressing your view, some people will start accusing you already. So I just want to sound that caution to you that this is
Okay.
very, very difficult business to do. And when you sign up for it, those are some of the responsibilities that come along.
Sure.
Some people will not be your friend again. For something that you said, maybe honestly speaking, they will say, why you said that about this person? So I just want to tell you to keep that at the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Mr. Caesar, you missed
Well, Mr. So they may give me that same advice when I came on. If I had knew that, I'm not coming to be on the network, yo.
Caesar,
The message is all grown up now.
Caesar, you are a politician.
There
You
you
know
go.
exactly the responsibility that comes as a politician. She or later a young lady coming up, and we'll bring her on this platform. Some of the things that we can stand, she may not be able to stand it because people call her names who don't somehow they don't bother us.
No, they can't do it. They can't try that here.
So that's why I'm just getting that guardians as a little sister. Once she's part of online, you got to be careful who you talk to, who you hang out with, because
Yeah.
that's Liberia.
Yeah.
So, but Sissy, man, Sissy, you can bring your own boom. You're from Fiamma, so you know the terrain. So
From Wednesday. I'm from Wednesday.
you see, Mr. So this is the excuses we give our leader to cover our people who are in decision making. We make these statements to cover them. Oh, it's not a man, it's the people around him. And I do not believe in those things. Here is the reason. You are the managing director of this network. If I say something, you call me and say, hey, What you say, can you follow, give us some information? Say, hey, what you said just now, give us some meat on the bone here. How you got there, how you arrived at this point. That's what makes you a good leader. But if we say something, you remain silent. So that the people around Mr. So. But you listen to what we're saying. You're seeing our action. You're seeing the cause, the effect of what we say to other people. You're seeing it and you're not seeing anything. And that's why I always say, no, we should not give leader cover up for these things here, because before you became leader, you're a human being. You go home, you go to bed, you sit down, you ask yourself. And the question I always ask people, before you take a decision, ask yourself this question: what I'm about to do or to say, if someone say it to me, if someone treat me like this, would I like it? And I said, the moment my answer to me no, it becomes difficult for me to do that, because I know it is not right. My conscience will not set me right. Our leaders sit down. They bring these people around them to help them to run whatever they are doing. And this person is doing something, and this leader is not calling this person to say, hey, why you did that? Do you see the implication? Because you did it and you see what it causing, this is the cause. Because at the end of the day, I am the one that will be asked to explain, not you. So if I don't chastise you, it means that I'm sanctioning your decision, or the action you are doing, I'm sanctioning. It means that I'm in favor of it. And that is the difference between a good leader and those who always want to please people. Because you're my body, you did something, I said, oh, come on, man, just leave it, man. Don't make noise and leave it. I will not say anything. There the problem coming. So the issue is, to answer the question, the leader are responsible for the action of all these people to bring around, and they are responsible because they have the power to discipline these people. And once they don't do it, it go right back to them. But people use it as an excuse. Oh, this man's a good man, but the people around him. But how can such a big man and bring bad people around him?
All right. Let me go to Sissy and let's bring you. As you know, we're always in the business to get some news, making headlines. ECOWAS leaders have listed sanctions, have agreed to lift sanctions against Burkina Faso, Mali. Yeah, Mali.
Was the sanction working?
Yeah,
Was it working?
I don't know what I was working. Hey, my man, what you say? They said they lifted it. Yeah, they have agreed to lift sanctions against Mali based on the transition process in there. Oh, and Sudan coup leader Abdul Fattah al-Burhan. Oh man, military than military. The last standing civilian person in the government. They fight. Did not fire the man. That's why all the protests going on. And our own man Barry Yoxin pledged to fight against the pressure to resign. By the way, 2 ministers resign again. So the whole thing here is certain opposition when they get it again, another kill. Yesterday he was a guy, now he's being surrounded with all sort of stuff here. Okay, let me bring you in here, Sissy. Is there any exception to this sort of talking point? Oh, the people here, they're not there. That the people that we can't blame him. We will blame this person. That the people that around them. Is there exception to that? Are we buy into that?
I don't think so. But first thing, let me elevate something that my young sister said about when we usually group young people and then just mischaracterize them as being dishonest. Usually when people tell me that, when people tell me, oh man, you're teaching America, you're teaching these children so bad, and I say, but your children are in my school, so who raised them, right? If these kids are so dishonest in Liberia, where are they learning it from? Who raised them? It's us, the older people, they're learning it from. So maybe we need to change so they can start being dishonest if we feel that way about them. But we need to start elevating the good ones that we found. Like we found Ms. Robinson. We need to elevate her, because once you elevate good, most people look at that and want to be like that. And so I think we need to keep finding these hidden gems in the Liberian society, and there are so many places, and start elevating them, and then maybe change the narrative, give them a new model, a new role model that they can follow. maybe that would be a good thing. But having said that, as a politician, like Mr. George said, when I ran campaigns here, I had a campaign manager and I had campaign spokesman. I got all these people, right? You got these handlers that try to inoculate you, kind of put you in a bubble to kind of shield you from certain things. But that is not an excuse for not being accessible. Because what happens quite too often, especially in our Liberian dispensation, is that access to politicians becomes a commodity for sale. So when you if you listen to Olive when she was speaking, she said when you go to the office, the protocol person first pretends like they run the whole place. So for them to even give you access to the chief of office staff, it's almost like you got to exchange something there. And when you get to the chief of office staff, they run you around before you get to whoever you're going to get to. But I think if leaders in Liberia were being truly authentic leaders, then you would know already when these things are happening in your office. Because, say, for example, if I'm a representative in any district, do I really need my people to come to me to tell me they're struggling if I'm actually going to them without the elections being around the corner? Because if you are going to your people, if you are accessible in your community, these people will not see the need to come to your offices. But because in your community, you've built higher fences and you've gated your fences and you've got, a structure and security. And I get it, people need to rest. But if you're not accessible to your people, then they follow you to your workplace. Right. And so that brought in, I'm just sorry that we lost Olive temporarily, but that brought me back to the issue of talking about people being at a table when decisions are being made for them. How often do you watch the deliberation at the Liberian legislature where they're actually bringing in people whose lives are being impacted by policy to speak on whatever bill they're debating? It doesn't happen. I've not seen one politician take an older lady or a younger person, a youth from their district, from their electoral district, and take them to the capital and say, tell us your story. Tell us how they affect you. What?
No, I mean, even to why the confirmation hearing and stuff like that, they don't.
Because, but here's the thing, Mr. So, we are here. If you are in government and you have a budget right now, discussing the budget. How many of them have gone back to their communities to hold town hall meetings and letting people know here is what the people are saying in the budget? Let me hear from you. They are not. And how many of them, when they talk about we need to build more schools, how many of them come back to the community asking their communities, what do you need? Do you need more schools right now? Do you need more clinics? Come and tell us how the lack of medical facilities has affected you. You get people with real stories that come to the capital and that come as witnesses to tell you their stories. That's how you bring people to the table. But what happens in our Liberian political dispensation is we go to sleep as politicians, as leaders. We imagine what the people might want, and then we go to the capital and try to debate that without having these people at the table. So we're making decisions for the vast majority of the people without their input. And then when the people come to us now to come find us, then we say, oh, they're not us, that the people around us. No, it's you. Because you have the ability that Mr. Joyce said to break yourself out of that bubble. And in most of these offices, the man can be in office or the woman can be in her office and hear what's happening right at the receptionist desk, right? So how long does it take you to walk out there and say, yo, come in, let me see you, right? And if you don't want people coming to your offices, then make yourself accessible in your districts as elected people. Make yourself accessible to your constituents. Don't wait for when it's election time and then you're all around the community and you're buying zinc and stuff. This is the time for you to be with the people, asking them what affects their life. How can you come up with legislation or come up with policy that will help improve their lives? Don't be the one deciding what's affecting them. Let them tell you what's affecting them. And then you go and articulate it on their behalf.
I don't know. This is a challenge. I don't know how we can overcome this sort of word of Jericho. Okay, we're going to be shifting to gear. We're going to be shifting gear right now. I'm going to play this tape. I'm not sure whether I'm going to resonate, but we have to play it. It's almost it collaborate with people giving space, getting the young people at the head table. Here we go. Let's see here. I think that part George people friend and so the way.
Let's stay after. Good afternoon to all. Let me say our apologies to the press for keeping you waiting. This very, very long time, you've been very patient with us. As we are all aware, the results pronounced by the National Elections Commission was done amidst acrimony and postings on their website that did not represent what obtained on the ground. And I'm sure our supporters and partisans have been waiting to hear from the Unity.
Okay, we're not going to waste too much. What in your head there? My last name. Okay, so let's have,
a big ball.
yeah, part of giving young people the seat, we will be talking politics, and but we will also tell to see how the young people can be involved. We know you're extremely late inside Liberia, so you can make a point. You need to go to bed. You a very busy lady as well. Don't mind us. It's just little 8:40 to me here. So I'm still good. So welcome back, welcome, Olive, and whatever time you can spend with us, then that's okay. It's understandable. We here in the network so bad in the place there. Look, I don't know whether you watch this guy, Mo Ali. Is that Mo Ali with the
Yep, that's more.
Yeah.
we see here? Yeah. Okay. He was on T Mac show the other day. He outlined causes, reasons why the Lothians voted the way they voted. I listened to Senator Darius Dillon. He was in a tone, and I did hear him saying in fact, he congratulated the senator elect, correct? I know you heard that.
That was the did.
Yeah, on OK FM. But if Mo Ali is the number 3 person for the opposition's Unity Party, he gives a perfect explanation why he thinks the vote went the way it went. And even he tweeted prior to that. But for them to come back to this podium and say, hey, this thing went what? What sort of double standard is that? I don't get the point. I think Joseph Boyka, for those of you or those across, this is if I were advising Joseph Boyka, Ambassador Boyka, it is time to surrender and lift up a new hand. And believe me, that new hand could be seen as a savior. I talked to folks, a few people today were doing some messaging and all of that, and I just owned it in Morovia, but I went in his backyard of Lofa. This thing here, if it goes off the rock, he's going to take the blame. And everything that he worked for will be going down the hill. I'm not sure whether anybody advising him. I'm not sure who are those is real ear eaters, because there are so many, some in Liberia, some here. But it is not playing out that well. It's a divided house in Lofa. And if he, as the godfather of politics now, is almost like the late Harold from Moniba. If he doesn't do a good judgment and decide to pursue it as it is going now, that will be detrimental. Let's just have Olivia. I know it's late yet. Let's see if she's able to give us closing remark. I'm not sure whether she's still able to hang up. I know it's really late in Liberia. Olive, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's kind of late here. Are you still catching up with what we on now? We transition a little bit to politics, which is also in connection of young people sitting at the head table is stand. Politicians, it's the same way. There must come a time they must begin to spot young people within their own cycle to say, you know what, let's get this. How you think Barack Obama came? Just from that speech at the National Democratic Convention. And it just got blown off completely. And what happens at the end result, it bear fruit. He became the president, the first black president? How many of us able to even promote or support our chief of office star who or she that has the talent, leadership skill, but just need a little bit push to say, yeah, we need to get you to, on the like move from in this darkness. Let's get you to the light. So I don't want to get you into too much here, but what I want you to speak to here is election is ahead,
Okay.
2023. You as a young person, if you
Mm.
were to sit among your peers, what could be the kind of advice? What would be the kind of conversation that you will want to have with them?
Okay. For me, before going to that question, yeah, before my technical problem came up because I have to drop the line and they
Hmm.
don't come back. But I know that yeah, you were talking about the recent election in Lofa County.
There
Yeah,
you go.
where yeah, so yeah, just before going to my point on the upcoming elections, I believe that yeah, the recent election in Lofa County, yeah, is something that yeah that surprised everyone. It was a big shock and blow to every one of us. Yeah, though yeah, I run a non-political yeah group, but I think as a young person who want my voice to also be heard in this nation, we all have to follow the politics of our states. So yeah, we tend to understand that UP, yeah, UP has a very strong hold in Lofa County. So see a candidate of UP losing to a self-supported candidate of the coalition, Councillor Jara, yeah, it was a big blow. It was a big shock, and we can tell me that yeah, the upcoming election will be competitive because we understand that Lower County is now divided. Yeah, so it's a no yeah no one man ground in area now. Rather, it's a place that everyone has to fight to get a standing point. And then my advice to the young folks, to we the young folks, yeah, as we get towards elections, yeah, there will be promises, right? There will be eagerness, there will be anxiety. And sometimes, yeah, at certain point in time, the ambition of the young people will become ambiguous. Yeah, at times they will not know what they are really going for, what they want. Yeah, too many definitions and too many things will be running through their minds. But then we should also take into consideration that the decision they made on the ballot box, yes, is what is going to speak for them in the next 6 years to come, right? Whatever they put, whatever they sign up for on that ballot paper is what they're gonna get in in 6 years time, right? So if you are making a decision for 6 good years, you have to calculate, you have to sit down, you got to do your own hypothesis, you got to analyze, and you got to be a critical thinker. There will be so many yeah political rhetorics, there will be so many rhetorics, I mean, there will be so many political games will be played just for people to gain the favor yeah of the young people. Yeah, there will be so many, yeah, there will be so many games, and especially again as we get towards elections, I also want the young people to be very conscious, yeah, of how they hang out, of who they hang out with, or what they do, because yeah, whenever we are getting towards elections, they can be. I'm sorry to say, I'm not allowing it to elections, but it's just a normal happenings here that whenever there are elections, the increase of death, yeah, it can be very high, especially the ritualistic killings where we have parts are scattered from the bodies of people, and we found dead bodies alongside the street and everywhere. So I urge every young person out there to be very careful, be skeptical, mindful of your environment, who you are seeing with, who you are with, and at what hour of the night, and what you are seeing doing with that person. At least people should know their steps. People should be careful because yeah, the society has gone so bad, so very bad that there is no one to absolutely trust. There is no one. Yeah, you just put your trust in God when you leave your house in the morning. Yeah, and if you go out there, you got to know which hour to return at your house. Or if you are out late, you should please contact somebody or tell a friend of yours that okay, I'm seeing with this person, because nowadays before yeah a colleague of yours can just depart from you, and before you hear he's gone, and yeah, he has disappeared, he has gone missing, and so many factors. So we want our young people to understand that the decision they will make come 2023 is what will speak for us in the next 6 years to come. So they should be wise, though things are hard, things are challenging, but they should not vote on their belly or for their belly. Yeah.
Okay, Olive, we want to thank you so much. We're gonna be here. We know it's really late inside Liberia. You need a
Yeah.
rest, but I will always bring you here, whether that 1 hour or 45 minutes you spend with us. That is understandable. Welcome to the family of LPR. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was nice interacting with every one of you.
Uh,
Thank you so much.
You're
uh,
Okay, I
welcome.
beg to depart.
Have a good night.
bye.
Okay, good night.
Okay, so water dry, fish eat fish now. Okay, so look, here we are. I was just giving it, and most of you have listened to it. Should this thing be pushed? Should we have another court drama again? Can they take up time now to recalibrate and see where they went wrong? And let me be crystal clear here. And I don't like this sort of obituary conversation, and that's exactly what we are in now. These grown-up men and women, they went into a process that they were unable to validate, to do the check and balances, to make sure everything that is there. No, we never had no data, we never had no numbers from the election commission, and now they coming, oh, we don't know where coming there. Yes, because you never asked, you felt it was a done deal, and you deliberately on purpose, you went there. These people, they are trying to distract all, and their behaviors is bad. Joseph Boyka, they need to chill out. They need to find their fault. The election commission is being a trouble. Joy been saying it. It being a trouble commission from time to time. There's a history. There's a pattern of their way of doing things. They were going into it. They knew it's a very consequential one. Yeah, but like I said, they left. They all went in drove. And they said they were in their war room, which of course it was not a war room. It was a pound one room they were in, having a nice time. And here we come after everything. They're coming down with a different tone. Come on. Why do they want to waste our time?
Mr. So let me disagree with you a lot.
You are at liberty.
Yes. So full disclosure, I'm not a unity partisan fan. I'm not a fan of Joseph Boakai, but we have laws on the book for a reason. If somebody feel aggrieved, they have the right to go to court. Now, I will have a problem if after the court rules and they decide not to agree with the court ruling. I will have a problem with that. But everybody should have the right to have their day in court. That's why we have a system. We can't tell people. It's the same thing I argue against people that say, oh, somebody that represented them, when I want to be senator, be going wrong, you can have another special election again when you need money. I say, well, you can't stop the person right from seeking higher office. We have a system in place. If their points have merits, then let them test it out in the courts. This would not be the first electoral case that's gone to court. We've had several senatorial and representative cases that went to court. Right, we had a case when the CPP was still CPP when they were contesting the electoral win between for this guy Abu Kamara when Tilia Ure lost, but they went to court. Even the very CDC has tested the system. At the last time, they couldn't even see Boss Charles and other people because there were wrangling going on. So for me, the fact that they chose the civil side to go to court, I think should be welcoming. Let them test the system. Let them go to court, because I think in court we will start to see some of those cracks, and we'll start to see some of those cracks in the electoral process and election commission that need to be fixed. Because we all know it's not 100%. You and I were just looking at some data this morning where they have not even reported 100% yet. And so for me, the Unity Party, yes, they made a lot of mistakes when it came to planning and implementing the electoral ideology if they had one. But for me, I smell blood in the water in Lafayette County as somebody who's promoting a different candidate. But I strongly believe that the Unity Party does have the right. It is within their right to test it, to go to court.
Okay. I don't know here, and that's a very good, and that's part of why we have this conversation. We can't always agree, which of course I listen to your analysis, which makes sense. The question now, I don't know yet. Maybe the court going to be the one to determine what are they taking, what are they caring to present. Those are things that we're going to be looking at. But interestingly, before Mr. Joyce coming, I don't know how true it is, but I spoke with multiple people. I think the opposition has been very successful to alienate their own people, their own bases, their talking point, the way they speak, the way they talk things. Good number of people stay back, stay home, who were part of another party. And because of the political bad blood between the opposition ANC and that of the Unity Party, it also plays out.
Yeah,
Yes,
don't give you people too much credit.
no, we're not
ANC got what? So you are you trying to tell me that the 60,000 people that show up to vote
not
out of the
necessarily,
100,
not necessarily the reflections
out
of
of
it.
the 180 people who registered that the ANC somehow was the reason for the poor turnout, don't give the people credit where they don't deserve. There is no causation, there's no causality, there's no association there. You know, but that's a whole different conversation, because to even see people from the ANC celebrating for the Unity Party to lose, for me, tells me, wow, that marriage was really toxic. You know,
We were told that the water was poison, so people
but here's the thing. I think the Unity Party, at the end of the day, if they do concede to having lost the election, will be because of the Unity Party, will not be because of the ANC in Lofa County. And here's another thing. I think you know, like you said, you know, we're spending our time on this this eulogy of the Unity Party in Lofa County, and I think is very premature. If you remember, in the United States in 2018, the Democratic Party won a senatorial seat in Alabama. Doug Jones,
yeah,
in Alabama, and we felt like, ooh, because I'm a Democrat, we felt we have it. What happened when Trump came back and they swept him out? It was not even close. Right. So if you, it's a different thing, because and Trump went and won Alabama, was not even close. The Democrats were not even competitive in Alabama. So to say that you had a bunch of Lothians on a ticket and one of them won against against the other person whose hands was raised by Joseph Boakai, that somehow, some way, Lofa County is now in play. I think people are over understand, or they're simplifying this thing way too much, and they're not understanding the dynamics of politics in Lofa or anywhere. Because just because an opposition wins a seat in a county doesn't mean that particular party now owns the county. ANC, for example, won a seat with Simeon Taylor. Could they claim Cape Mount to be their stronghold because they won one seat with Simeon Taylor? Absolutely not.
Where's Simeon Taylor?
Right, and you got Yaga Koloba in District 10. Can the ANC claim that District 10 is their stronghold? No, that's not how politics works. I think I think people are being unfair in their calculations of how this thing is going. But to my bigger point, the Unity Party feel aggrieved, and they feel like they have proofs. Let them go to court. My only thing was, we haven't seen any proof. They didn't present anything at their press conference, and maybe it was strategic. So I will wait to listen to their argument when they go to the court, and let's see what documentation they can provide to the courts.
Okay, Amos George, he inserted something. The press conference, the reason of a press conference, well, they could have their own interpretations where maybe to set the stage, but that could have been a place where they were probably demonstrated probable cause of why they are developing, or why they had that feeling. We don't see it yet. We're going to see why. We don't want to be judgmental to say, okay, why they didn't do it, so it means they don't have it. But let's hear from you. Is that the right way Ambassador Boakai is going right now? Or should he focus on the bigger picture ahead in order to solidify his political base?
So let me say this first. Every citizen of Liberia, or every institution of Liberia, have the right to go to court when they feel aggrieved. They can go to court with their facts, and the court will determine who is right and who is wrong. But from the onset, the Unity Party brought this on themselves. You know me, the Election Commission, Professor Zawo, a strong supporter of CDC, on this platform from the day the Latina Brown was named, we said she was not capable of running. We didn't say she was not educated, so she was not capable of running that institution. Given the circumstances of running that institution, the team that they said the president put together, we said they were not fit to run that institution. And we were vindicated from election after elections. This one, the press conference was bizarre to me. It was the reporter we had from Bunjama who raised this issue on our platform that only 2 districts voter card were replaced. The 3 other districts were left untouched. That it is a basic blatant violation of the people's rights of the 3 districts. The United Party did not raise that issue.
No, in their press conference, they said they raised the issue, but it was ignored, according to the ambassador.
I say, these are constitutional. You can go to the court to issue a prohibition.
I know, Chief. I know it was. I just telling you what the man said. The man said you raised it and put ignore. I say, okay.
Come on, go to the court to issue an injunction. The second one was the ambassador Walker said a former candidate who was not running was placed on the ballot. That's a legitimate point to go to rush to court. That's why you have your legal team. That, hey, this election cannot go ahead based on, 1, all the districts, the 5 districts, they were not called by replacement voter card. Second, there is a candidate who is not running. Picture is on the ballot.
Why they didn't jump? Let's break them into pieces.
Did they see provisional ballots or not? Because there's the thing that befuddled me. And you brought that up because did they see provisional ballots? Because they said in some places there were some ballots and Councilor Jara was on it as independent, Councilor Jara on it as CDC, and Mariam Kofana on it 2 times. I was like, did you see provisional ballots or no?
Third, the total number of a ballot printed should have been given to the public to know the total number of voters that are going to be voting in Lofa County.
The registrants, yeah.
Right. Now, if you have auditing going into the election and you did not raise the issue, though it did not deny you from not going to court, but that way you should start sounding the alarm. Yeah, your legal team should be there to say, hey, hold on, we're rushing to the Supreme Court to stop it because who smelled something in the water. They didn't do it. Now, after the election, you come, you meet your people. If you have all these points, I expected him at the end of that press conference to say, hey, having said this, our legal team, first, we are challenging the result of this election. Our team is filing paperwork to the election because they got 15 days to file with the election commission. And any ruling from there, if they're not satisfied, then they can go to the Supreme Court. But then the vice president, former governor, said that they're not going to consult the team. This, I call it a total breakdown of leadership. What they say is just a safe face from the supporters to say, yes, they try.
Okay. Now, let's talk about it here before we wrap up here. Now, I listened to Mo's interview on 50-50. I listened to Senator Darius Dillon, even though he's not a unity partisan, but remember, they all were joking. They were all doing a therapy work in Lofa and all of that. Does that coming out congratulating all of that, does that undercut the momentum, or does it show that there's a divided house within their own inner cycle of people? Now, his comments, ANC comments have already congratulated. Can they come back to say why Darius Dillon have done things? Can they come back to say why ANC comments have congratulated the winner, Councilor Jala? There seems to be a divided role, gentlemen.
No, here's the thing here. ANC is not part of the Unity Party. So that's a political
Yeah,
leader.
but that narrative will still factor in that that blame game will still be there, that they should stay. I mean, they told them already they should stay out of A, they get nothing to do with A and all of those kind of stuff.
Mr. So here's the thing here. Mr. Comey is congratulating or
you can struggle when it comes to ANC.
No,
You're looking for the reference.
no, I'm careful what I put in my words on that because I don't want someone to come say the nice I scratch my head. Mr. Comey is congratulating Jalan. That does not change anything because the fire, if the election commission, if the Unity Party goes to court and they win, Mr. Comey, you cannot say because Mr. Comey congratulating, so the decision cannot be reversed. No. There are still on. There's a dynamic player, you people don't look at it. Steve Zago is from one, the Liberia Party. If Jalas wins that election, Steve Zago will be running this coming election. He will run there. But if Jalas doesn't win that election, the Loma people put another candidate. So United Party is playing a game here. That game they're playing because Steve Zago, if Cottonman wins, Steve Zago is there. Who will be the sacrificial lamb? The people say, hey, 2 Loma men running to be from the upper area? No. So the United Party is playing a game. Jalash will say, then of course Steve Zago will have the time to run it as a guy from the upper area.
Let me address the thing that Mr. George running away from. In elections politics, political maturity suggests that you wait for the parties that have standing in the election to first address all of their grievances before you come out to congratulate. The ANC had no fish to fry in this oil. They were being politically petty to come out and do their congratulations. You wait for the defeated candidate to concede, and then you come out and you congratulate. Hold on, Mr. George, because if people are still having problems, if Kotimai has not conceded, I think it was immature for Darius DeLon to do it. Darius DeLon is a sitting senator, and I remember that. He has to stop playing the ball game to say, okay, is this guy going to come to the Senate? Do I have to work with him? Do I need to start mending fences? That is a different calculation from a political leader of a political party, ANC, that has no expiration date on when you congratulate somebody. Why the rush? Why the hurry? Except, no. The only reason that would be is because the same thing that's happening to Joseph Boakai is what's happening to Kumis. They have the people around them are so toxic, and they make them make these decisions that sometimes are just foolhardy. Right? Joseph Nyuma Boakai should have made better decisions, but he didn't because of the people around him. Same reason why ANC Cummings should not have said anything about congratulating anybody until this thing play out. Right? Regardless of whether I go to court and the Unity Party loses, he should have held his peace. But no, hold on one second. But he's so much in a hurry to show to his ex-girlfriend that he's over her, that he's going to be petty. And that's what he did. Because they're so mad at the Unity Party for the breakup of the CPP. That's the only reason why he rushed to death. There was no other reason besides that. There was no logical...
So, in essence, his action or the action of the ANC is deliberate?
It's deliberate. It's petty. Because if they've been following their surrogates on Facebook, they all been celebrating the win. They all been booing at almost like saying, "Whoa, you should have stayed with us." They've been saying that. They've been going their way. So this has become so much of a high school, petty breakup. We broke up, so now you must have with that friend. I will wish you evil, and so that's all this is. Because nobody can tell me what is the political gain. What is the expiration date on saying congratulations that these people are working on that Cummings had to come out to make that statement?
No expiration date, so anytime. But the point here, if Cottonman himself had not come out to say anything, to speak to the press, you can't.
What did Cottonman say? Cottonman has not conceded. So Cottonman is waiting for
Well,
In party elections, this Mr. George, in party elections, when the elections are over, if the other person has not conceded, that means they're still looking at issues. Mr. Cummings lived in America for a long time. He knows that. If the other party, the person whose loss has not conceded, it means they're still looking at other issues. So you wait for them to concede. You can't say, oh, because Cotton Maika also will run ahead of him. What do you have to lose in that?
Mr. Sisi, Cottonman had not come out to say recount. He's not saying, he had not said
That's the
anything.
point I'm making, Mr.
So,
George.
so then
That's
what?
the point I'm making. So that's why you wait.
So
That's the
then-
reason you
No,
wait.
but-
In politics, Mr. George, in politics, after I lose an election, if I don't call to concede, everybody understands that I am still looking at my numbers. That's why I haven't called to concede. That's why I haven't said anything. Mr. Cummings is not a novice to politics. He knows that.
No, but Mr. Sisi, you know, you want to compare here. You have your numbers. You will say, hey, right before the next end that the next day, hey, we'll ask for recount. Cottonman have not said anything to the public.
Again, because here, Mr.
Well,
George,
okay, let
you're
me
being
ask you,
unfair.
George.
You're being very unfair because here you have the data right away. In Liberia, they don't have the data right away. NEC has not reported all of their data yet, as a matter of fact. So again, my point here is Alexander Cummings was just being a schoolboy, just being a high school boy.
I didn't even send that numbers to you because the stuff that we're receiving today is kind of like I don't know what the heck is going on. But it speaks to the point what Sisi is saying. Why do you think up to this time he has not conceded? What is going on? Why you think he's still holding back?
Oh, that is a question I'm asking because the election is going to a 1 week. The chairman, the party chairman, they had a press conference. He didn't come out to say he didn't come out as a candidate to say anything. When you leave your supporters, I said, hey, we disagree with the election results, or we're asking for recount, or we're going to court. But you're not saying anything, just silence.
All right.
You're leaving your supporter in doubt. Mr. So you know a year. By the time that vote coming in the next year.
Do you think he's been pressure from his party? Say, hold everything constant. We have few things to do. We are still watching closely. Could that be the reason? Because I don't understand why he couldn't even make a statement.
That's the thing.
He is the candidate.
Yes. He is a candidate. Suppose I say no happened, we will not
Are they
concede.
stopping him from speaking? Are they stopping him from speaking?
I'm not in the camp, so I don't know. But he would have said something wrong.
You have friends in Unity Party.
No, I know.
For his number, he didn't pick up. I will try to get some of the other folks that participated in the process. We're still waiting to see if any of them will answer our phone call.
Yeah, but because this is bizarre, Mr. So the candidate himself had not said anything. You can say, look, we're
But
trying
what
to.
could be the probable cause that he, the candidate, is not speaking? What could be the suspicion within you, from in your belly?
Well, probably they don't have the guts to say, hey, we're going to challenge this result. They don't have the guts. Because if they had it, they would have said it.
They haven't. They are indecisive. Which way to go? Is that the case?
They are very much indecisive. And this is why it's about weak leadership.
It means, do you think it's a games being played by Unity Party? Let's put a little bit face fight here, but in reality, that's not it. Is that why it looks like?
So look at the press conference yesterday.
Mr. So, let's not allow Mr. Josh to get away with that excuse. Mr. Josh, listen 1 second.
Hold on 1 second, Mr. Josh.
Listen 1 second, Mr. Josh.
I asked him to, and I'm not getting the answer. If you and I go into a race or go into a competition here, and this competition requires someone to win in order to get a certain point, and it is over, and it has been reported that you won it, but yet and still, I can't tell my supporters or I can't come out to say. What I'm wondering now, Cotterman did not in any form, shape, alter anything at that press conference.
I think what you're doing here wrongfully is not understanding how political institutions run. If you even look at the press conference, when I got to the press conference, Scotty might didn't speak because right now it's being handled by the political party. Okay, you contest on a ticket. When the Democrat Party has a problem here with an election that their candidate run in, the Democratic Party takes control and they go to court. they handled that. So Kotimai, having not called to concede, again, this is we cannot
That's correct.
excuse
So
this
the argument that's a-
naivety on the
that's
part of
the
Alexander Cummings and the ANC. This was wrong. Okay, you can wait, you can lick your chops and wait, but you can't say simply because Kotimai has not said nothing, and therefore we will go ahead and make their speech. Right. So if in a political system, did they really assume that the Unity Party is not capable of conceding? Because even now, today, the document you share with me, even on the NEC website, they're not done with reporting all that stuff. Okay. So where did Cummings do the math? What numbers were he looking at? Yeah, but when they announced it, when the NEC announced it, he didn't just do it the same day. You see, that would have been a different thing. The day the NEC announced. If Cummings had said congratulations, say, oh, Cummings they're following neck. He waited for a few times, right? Because he wanted to drink a soup cold. My point is the ANC cannot run from this. This was a schoolboy play by Alexander Cummings. Period. Because he understands how politics work. He should not have done that. Again, we can blame Joseph Boakai for having people around him that he listened to. It's the same thing with Cummings. Cummings got these people around him that made him to make that mistake. What was the expiration date on the congratulations and you couldn't wait?
So, Joyce,
anybody can call. It can at any time.
It's not anybody. Cummings is not anybody. Cummings is not anybody. Cummings is the political leader of a political party that is seeking to be president.
So, Mr. Joyce, let me ask you: do you think the action on the part of and because there's a sort of clear logical line into A here, we went into a race. Your opponent did not concede. That is an apprehension, revision, trying to figure out something where went wrong. They want to make sure. And I agree with him because at that point now, it became the issue of the political party, the institution that puts him in the ring. Now, in the absence of why you think it's applicable when we watch it? And we shouldn't say because it's a Liberia, we should just do it any kind of way. Even when projections are made here as a winner, you will still hear say word, this candidate, we are hearing that he or she has not called the winner. Because when you call the winner, it validates the result. There's no way you can come by to say, oh, I will place that call, my finger made mistake on my keyboard, and I place that call. We saw that happening with even it took a time. Why didn't say Hillary
for the Democratic stuff.
Yeah.
Even with George Bush and Gore, when Gore placed the call, Gore even retracted the call. But here's one thing before Mr. George come in, let me give you one more thing. When the CPP was together, when Cummings was still in the CPP, when Abu Kabara was announced as winner by National Election Commission, why Cummings didn't congratulate Abu Kabara? They still said they still had case to go deal with. Why he didn't rush ahead and say, oh, next thing announcing it, so I'll congratulate Abu? Because he was in a political marriage with them. Now that he's out of this marriage, people have to be honest. Both the Unity Party and the ANC, they're acting really childish from this breakup. And it's affecting Liberians.
Political party time, CPP had an issue with the Abu Kamara result. They announced that they had an issue, so they would not congratulate them. But what you don't want to accept is that because the party from day one, since after the election, Kotima had not spoken on his own. He don't have to wait for the party to take that vote.
You gotta go by and check political. That's not how political parties operate. No, that's not how. There's no political party. Mr. Josh, there's no sensible political party that operates that way.
Stacey Abrams of Georgia, when she ran against Governor Kemp, when she did lose that election, she spoke.
It was the Democratic Party that first spoke. Go back and check. It was the Democratic Party. Yes. Yes.
And the middle land. You would talk. I gave you time. Why you don't want to give me time to land?
Okay, go make your point.
Let me land. Stacey Abrams spoke to the supporters of her, say, I am challenging this result. Stacey Abrams. It was not the Democratic Party at the time. It was Stacey Abrams as a candidate who spoke before going to court. So don't say.
So, Mr. Judge.
So
I will hope you go back and do that research. But the first contention to that election was raised by the Democratic Party. It was the Democratic chair of Georgia that first raised that. The Democratic Party requested for a recount before Stacey Abraham came up to speak. Go back and check that. That's how party politics work, Papi. That's how it works.
Yeah, okay, look, Mr. George, let me ask you. Do you think when Stacey was speaking, we'll bring her in here because it also affects her here. We got a few minutes here to go. Do you think she was just speaking as an individual or she was speaking from the inner wall of the party?
Oh, she was speaking from the inner wall, but the party was falling behind her.
So then what is the difference?
But Katuma had not spoken.
Yeah, but that's
the difference.
Papi, Mr. George.
This time, it's Joseph Boakai who is speaking. It's not Katuma.
Mr. George, because Joseph Boakai is the head of the party. In Georgia, Mr. George, in Georgia, you have a head of the Democratic Party. The head of the Democratic Party first spoke. And then the Democratic Party machinery went back and looked at their data and came back and said they do not accept the result, that they were going to go to court. And then Stacey Abraham spoke and said she does not accept the result. That is how party hierarchy works. Stacey Abraham could not have spoken before the Democratic Party spoke.
Let's end. Hold on. Let's end on this note here. I'm going to create that unimaginable stuff here. I want to make, you don't like Boakai. The Boakai own son say he's not a supporter of Boakai here, but let's act like an advisor. This is at a crossroad, like a piece of cloth between the scissors and something is about to derail like a train. Let me ask you, Pat George, if you were asked to provide counsel to Ambassador Joseph Boakai in this here, what could be the advice?
Oh, Mr. Zo, but now our legal team would have been going to the court.
You should continue with the court.
Yes, because based on what they say they have, that is enough concern to go to court. If they have no facts, they should be to the court now. I mean, they should be to the Election Commission.
But we don't know yet precisely what they have, or even though they are making those points, there is a circumstantial.
According to what they say they have.
Okay.
Based on that, the document they should let them send to the Election Commission to challenge the commission on those issues.
Okay. All right. So, Sise,
yes,
let's make you an interim consultant here or advisor to Ambassador Boakai, considering all that is unfolding here. If you were called in to provide counsel or to be like a car rover to Ambassador Boakai right now, look into his face. It doesn't matter whether Mo Ali sitting there or the other man sitting there, Benana Yuri, whatever, who cares? If you were asked and then Boakai say, look, I think I can listen to my countryman, even though he's not supporting me, but he gave me an honest advice. What precisely, what he should be doing, what you think is pondering in his mind now? Is it party tension putting in the face of this whole thing here, or other people should be handling it? What he should precisely do as a leader?
I think they've all put themselves in a very untenable situation. But I think what he should do, having laid the groundwork for the case today, I think this would be a good place for him to lean back and allow the party chairman and the party machinery to handle everything going forward, and the party lawyers, right? This is when they have to do that now, because Joseph Boakai cannot continue to be the face of this going forward. This is when I agreed with Mr. Josh. Well, why? Because now it's almost like, are you the party, or are you the leader of the Unity Party, or are you the leader of Lofa Kante alone? So he has to step back now and allow this to become a party machinery issue, to become an institutional issue, right? Mm-hmm. And here's where I agree with Mr. George in a little bit, that this is now where, after they have laid down their argument, their beginning argument, this is now when they need to highlight the candidate, Kotimai, and more, and the party chairman and their lawyers should be the ones speaking going forward, because now this is on legal grounds. And the next thing I would say is that I will hope that they have laid out all of their evidences. They have hard documentation. They're not just going to go to court and say somebody said this and somebody said this and somebody said that. Because if you remember at the press conference when Ambassador Boakai was asked about some of the names that were on the ballot, I think maybe he didn't want to misspeak and call somebody a name that would have been a mistake. But he said, "Oh, the people know it," and I have Mo Ali had to come in and kind of try to call out some of those names, right? And I want to give him due deference to say sometimes people don't want to misspeak, and as politicians, you don't want to call a name, and then they found out that was not a name, and then the Liberian political system say, "Oh, the old man can remember, he already bested, so maybe that was why." But if I were advising the Unity Party right now, I would say this would be time to start gradually putting Joseph Juman Boaka in the back and let this thing be looked upon as an institutional issue versus one old man having bad blood because his candidate didn't win and he's just pissed off. Because now it becomes a Unity Party issue versus a Joseph Boaka issue.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, Mota got the energy, the guts.
Oh my!
You see the man again.
You say boy cannot get energy, Modana get energy. All right, maybe more Ali get energy.
Oh, all the campaign. How many times you saw Ami Moda?
Mbappe is too radical comments and so.
This people take the people build an individual. This whole United Party is hanging on Joseph Walker and they're drilling this comment down. They don't get it.
What one making you vex?
I'm a bit vexed. I'm just in a hardcore truth.
The other day stay vexed when the political marriage break up.
No.
You need marriage counseling.
Why did
the Unity Party and the ANC need marriage counseling? See what marriage counseling is?
You know what I would tell Lasana Brown?
No.
Would tell Joseph Boyka was okay. Let's suppose
if someone want to worry me, would be someone that comes to the Gonglo. But not Omen Joseph Boyka. I respect him. Not Omen Joseph Boyka.
He's trying to get my soft side. I appreciate you.
NEC to pull Boyka and Cummings in one wrestling ring.
No, I know, but I seriously think the two political parties need therapy because it has been weird to watch it. But on a serious note, though, the Unity Party is a very serious party when it comes to electioneering politics in Liberia as far as the numbers, the membership. The ANC is a very serious party. They've gone from where they were the last election and they've made headways in making sure people know about them. So to have these two very critical political parties, surrogates behaving the way they're behaving, I think it is not good for our people. I think before we get to 2023, both sides have to call off their dogs and get a surrogates to stop misbehaving. Daddy's daycare open. So
all right, gentlemen, we got to call it for the night. I want to thank you so much for the time, Sissy and man Amos George. Thank you so much and have a pleasant evening. Okay, well, folks, that does it this evening. I'm Alfonso Z and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. To our viewers, listeners, wherever you are, I want to say thank you. Your comments, your tweets always help to enhance our broadcast and make us to do what we do. Unfortunately, if you came here to hear exactly what you want to hear, to have play into your playbook, that's not who we are, that's not what we represent. We always like to make the news free, fair, balanced, and proportionate. So I want to thank you so much on this day. So until then, by God's willing, same time, same station, we'll be right back here again. This is a beautiful song from neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire. Those songs, there's a message contained in the song. Let's go to La Côte d'Ivoire. Let's go and enter the world of Grand Gidet and just cross the border, right to the border there, and just go to Grand Gidet and have a little fun before we go this evening. Let's go. I'm sure tell Lion the tail man loves this song here, right? You gotta be strong. Let's be strong. Harris Tucker, thank you for joining us. Alan Dixon, Madam Comfort Abu, good evening. And then Tapet, Jibe, and Charles Green, our man Abel, welcome. Thank you for chilling out with us this evening. And I'm quite sure Molba Harris is on board, slammed Jala Glade, and Vasco Uman, Prince Kroman. And I'm forgetting Niton Blay, and my own man right here from the ocean state of Rhode Island, Jerry Sandy. Good evening. Thank you for chilling with us. And Orita Davis, don't get panicked. Don't think I'm going to call your name. All right. Oh, Mark Keba in the house. What's up? And then Musu Kamara. We're dancing. They want us to dance. All right, folks, we want to thank you so much for your time this evening. By God's willing, we want to be back here. Let's pray for our country. Let us continue to have this conversation that must be conducted in a civil context so that we can arrive at a solution and potentially we can make an informed decision. Because when we are all a logger here, everybody's screaming and yelling, throwing unnecessary tantrums, guess what? We can find no solution to the problem. Liberia is the only country that we have. And there's a saying that's saying there's no bad bush for a child. Yes, we can talk to our leaders. Yes, we can frown on them, but we must have this conversation in a civil context in order to persuade and get somebody to make informed decisions. We do it in anger, in frustrations, with everybody temper rising above sea level. That's not even going to help us. They're going to make people to do crazy things, and then we're going to live with it. On this note, we want to thank you. Olive Robertson is going to be our contributor here, young lady, very brilliant, smart. That's another way of involving people, the young, the millennials, into today's conversation. If you are elsewhere and you think you want to form part of this, put out a test, get a test skin like some of us, they can call you whatever name, let us know. And this is why this network is not just only for the elite. In fact, we are looking for Liberians, people who have the country at heart. We can agree, disagree. It doesn't matter which parties you belong to. And this is what all of us, you, me, we must all be held responsible for our comments, for what we author, for what we write, because it does have the propensity to degenerate our country into chaos, which we do not want. We have had enough. We need to rebuild what is going on in the country. Until then, folks, I'm Alfonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Have a pleasant evening. And thank you for sharing your May week with us. Bye-bye. Be safe.
I just want to thank you. Thank you.